Hey everybody, it's April Davis PI. I'm reporting to you from Los Angeles, California, and it is Monday, March 31st, and I want to do a synopsis of what's happened thus far on the Nancy Guthrie case. Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today co-host Savannah Guthrie, she disappeared in the middle of the night in the wee morning hours of Sunday, February 1st, 2026. According to Savannah, she was asleep in her bed and was taken in the middle of the night, just in her pajamas without even her shoes. There has been a long list of suspects. Now, before I go over that long list of alleged suspects, let me say that everybody here on my channel is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Let's go with suspect number 1, as reported by reporter Ashley Banfield. She cited a close law enforcement source identifying Tommaso Cioni, the husband of daughter Annie Guthrie, as a possible prime suspect. To date, obviously, Tommaso has never, ever even been charged. Yes, his home was searched. Yes, his wife's car was taken for over 5 weeks, but he has never been officially named a suspect. Quite to the contrary, he has been cleared as a suspect. Now, in my mind, if he is a suspect, a legitimate suspect, then his wife Annie, who is Nancy's eldest daughter, she would be a suspect as well. However, according to the Pima County Sheriff, both of them have been cleared. In fact, everybody in the Guthrie family has been cleared. Now, the FBI has declined to comment on who has been cleared or who hasn't been cleared. In my mind, anything is possible. Now, let's talk about there was an Uber driver who she had an interaction with on Saturday night, January 31st, when she got a ride to her daughter and son-in-law's house for dinner. Apparently, that entire ride was recorded by the Uber driver's dash cam. The Pima County Sheriff has a video of that, and whoever the unnamed Uber driver is, he is not considered a suspect. Now let's go into the long list of characters here. I call them actors because this is like playing out like a play. Character number 1, well, I shouldn't really say 1 because 1 is Tommaso, number 2 is Annie. We'll try to go in the order that these people came into the show. Number 3, I would say, on my list, just because of he came up next, was a man named Carlos Palazuelos of Rio Rico, Arizona. Now, coincidentally, he is the son of a known registered S offender who is known as Carlos Alberto Palazuelos. He's in his 50s. The younger Carlos is only in his 30s. He works for a third-party delivery company in Tucson, delivering packages for Amazon, possibly FedEx and UPS. He is also a part-time DoorDash driver, as is his wife. They currently live with his mother-in-law down in Rio Rico. He was detained for about 5 hours on the evening of Friday, February 13th, while he and his wife were returning to Rio Rico from doing some DoorDash runs, reportedly in Tucson. There's a YouTube video I saw recently where Carlos was pointed out as a potential suspect, but I think the reason he may have been a person of interest is because of his father's criminal history, the fact that they have the same name, and they may have pinged his cell phone in the area that evening, or not that evening, but during prior days where he might have been delivering in the area, and they connected the dots improperly, thinking that they were one and the same people, when there's actually 2 Carlos Alberto Palazueloses. I don't know the middle name of the younger Carlos, but we'll call the older one Carlos Sr., and we'll call the younger one Carlos Jr. He now has lawyered up, has yet to receive his phone, according to him, back from the police. Maybe that has since changed. He is not a suspect in my mind at all. I'd say there's a 99.9% chance that he's not involved. Now, the same evening, which was very important, Friday, February the 13th, a young man, I would say 30s, Luke Daly, was a person of interest. He was detained that evening down at Culver's restaurant in Tucson. He is the son of Mary Daly and the brother of a man named Matt Daly, who apparently lives in Phoenix. Luke lives in Shadow Hills, which may or may not be a part of the Catalina Foothills, the neighborhood where Nancy had lived or has lived since 1975. Apparently, both Luke and Mary were detained the night of February 13th. Luke was detained at the local Culver's restaurant, and he is reportedly the ex-boyfriend, allegedly, of a character named Kayla Day. Yeah. Now, his poor mother, she ended up going to a neighbor's house while her house was being raided, while her son down the street was having his car towed by the FBI, and his alleged girlfriend had reportedly been brought in by Pima County the night of the 12th and was later incarcerated that weekend on outstanding drug-related warrants. Now, Luke has claimed in an interview that he is a reformed, recovered drug addict, I believe. He has crimes relating to drugs, former crimes. Allegedly, he denies a relationship with Kayla Day. You can see his interview and his mother's interview on local television in Tucson. They were both interviewed with a reporter named Brianna Whitney. She's local to Tucson. Both of their interviews are also available online. Luke does appear somewhat nervous in his interview. He's wearing long sleeves, which a lot of people noted, and sneakers. And the mother, she's very protective of her son, as a mother would be. She knew who Nancy Guthrie was, but claimed that she had never met her, although her attorney did later state in a recorded interview that she may have actually had a run-in with Nancy Guthrie and Savannah while in a grocery store or something similar to that, approximately 3 or 4 years before. Now, maybe they saw each other, but they probably didn't actually meet. Who knows? But people were a little worried about her statement claiming not to know Nancy Guthrie when apparently she may have met Nancy and Savannah in a local store. You know, it's he said, she says. You know, it's probably not important. On the night of February 13th, police were also in a town called Marana, Arizona. That's apparently a suburb of Tucson, about 20 minutes away. And coincidentally, Marana, Arizona is the home of a man named Dominic Evans, yet another character in this long saga here. Dominic Evans, a local drummer and teacher, is a bandmate of Nancy's son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni. He allegedly, reportedly, has a criminal history of possible burglary, possible robbery, possible theft, and embezzlement. Now, he is in a band with Tommaso Cioni, also known as Tommy. Their band is called Early Black. Now, speaking of bands, there's another character or actor in this case, Mr. Derek Kayea, English version Kalela, a man in Los Angeles County who has been charged with sending ransom demands by text to Annie and Tommaso's personal cell phones. He was arrested and charged the next day by the feds and faces an upcoming hearing. Now, we're not done with him yet because apparently he is also in a band that plays the same type of music as Tommaso Cioni's band, and that band has a promoter named Mojito. Mojito is a local Tucson area band promoter who promotes not only Tommaso's band, or not only Derek's band, but Tommaso's band, Tommaso's band, once again, being early black, and Derek's band being secret mutilator. The two, meaning Tommaso and Derek, may or may not know each other, but they have performed in some of the same clubs in the Tucson area, but not necessarily at the same time. Now, a weird fact about Mojito with an I, kind of pronounced similar to mojito, the drink, is allegedly involved in something called S fetish balls, reportedly attended by this Kayla Day, the alleged former girlfriend of Luke Daly, even though Luke has denied the relationship. Now, I have to be careful with my words here because on March 25th, I just became newly monetized on YouTube. And if it ends up paying off, I'll be able to get rid of my $15 Amazon microphone. So I apologize if the audio is just insufficient here, to say the least. Now, getting back to Luke, this is very important, I think. Luke Daly, when he was pulled over on Friday night, February 13th, he was driving a car that was new for him. Apparently, his own personal vehicle had been wrecked in a recent accident, and he bought a Range Rover. Now, there is a local car dealership that's not too far from Nancy's called MG Motors, and this Range Rover, which, by the way, is not the same Range Rover that MG Motors had on their website, but a similar looking but different color Range Rover, was allegedly sold to Luke Daly the very day after that Nancy Guthrie disappeared. Now, I cannot confirm that Luke Daly bought that car on February 2nd. That would be something for the police and the DMV to work out. I'm sure Pima County Sheriffs and FBI could get into or subpoena the DMV records. But supposedly, Luke bought this new car to replace the one that was totaled, that was still sitting in his driveway, waiting to be towed by the insurance company. And it didn't even have a license plate, like a hard plate. It had paper plates, but it did have a license plate rim that said MB Motors. But the story goes that the car was actually owned by a man named Zach Jaghoob. I think Zach is short for Sedone Jaghoob. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these Arabic names or Arabic. Is it Arabic or Arabic names properly? This man, he's a Jordanian man, allegedly from Amman, Jordan. He has ties to the country of Jordan, Dubai, Kuwait, Miami, Florida, Tucson, Arizona, and Los Angeles, California. Now, his social media confirms his ties to LA and Tucson. And he allegedly has become a distant suspect in this case, although he says he has not lived in the United States since 2019. But he's also known as Metro Man, also described as a metrosexual, and a lot of people seem to think that Metro Man has sculpted eyebrows, hairy arms, and that he does fit the body type, possibly 5'9", 5'10". I don't know his exact height and weight, but his body type is supposedly similar to the next suspect, which we call Front Porch Guy. That's the guy that was, they lifted video of him from the Nest doorbell cam that was actually stolen the night of the crime. He's the one that carries possibly a weapon in a holster that doesn't fit in front of his waist, and has the dark backpack and the white tennis shoes on. Yeah. Now, this man, Front Porch Guy, he may or may not have tattoos on his right arm. He could be wearing a watch. It could be jewelry. It could be hair. These pictures that are circulating online, those are AI images only. So it's really not known what this dark area is under his right sleeve, between the gun, or not the gun, but the glove. He's wearing black gloves, possibly two, on the same hand, and there's a little piece of skin showing. So we don't know if those AI images are correct, because he's covered in long sleeves. And this Zach, this Metro guy, who maybe possibly fits the body description, he is known to fly on private jets and has at times lived only a few miles from Nancy's neighborhood in a luxury apartment. Yeah. He supposedly wasn't even in the country when all of this went down, but his name has circulated, and that was all connected to the evening that Luke Daly was taken from Culver's. Now, let's not forget, this is funny, the eccentric neighbor Jason, who may actually live in Marana. Initially, I think he portrayed himself as a nearby neighbor, like maybe he lived on Nancy Street, but apparently he lives, maybe 20 minutes away in Marana. He has made multiple visits to the crime scene, claiming to have premonitions, and he obviously does not fit the height or weight description of the front porch guy, also known as Mask Man. Now, also included in the list of suspects in this crazy case, the many characters, would be any person connected to Savannah Guthrie. In particular, people allegedly associated with the Epstein files, which therefore would include, yes, Donald Trump, the President of the United States. Now, I'm sure that Donald Trump, his whereabouts could be accounted for the night of the crime. But, people are saying that he may have ordered this, but yet he actually reportedly called Savannah, offering as much federal help as she would need, which, does seem a little strange considering that he's not her biggest fan. But yeah, that's actually been brought into this. That is kind of going down a rabbit hole, but hey, anything is on the table here. The long list of suspects, or characters as I call them, or actors, have also included her current husband, Michael Feldman, who allegedly, and I do say that carefully, allegedly is a cleanup man for the Clintons. Because people associated with the Clintons do sometimes, occasionally, show up unalived. Now, in addition to her current husband, Michael Feldman, they have also tossed around the name of her ex-husband, Mark Orchard. I don't know anything about him. He wasn't on my radar. I only know her current husband. I don't know anything about this Mark Orchard fellow. Now, let's not forget, can't hear in the microphone, every single gang member that's tied to local Mexican gangs based in Arizona, because of the alleged AI-produced tattoos that may be gang tattoos, and even accusations of Mexican drug cartel members from south of the border. Very doubtful, in my opinion, unless they were hired. Some have even pointed to this crime being connected, this is kind of a stretch, to Sheriff Chris Nanos, who people are, tongue-in-cheek referring to him as Sheriff Bananos, because he seems to have gone out of his way to compromise the crime scene and evidence. That's just a disaster, what's happened with Pima County, and there's currently petitions to get him recalled from his duties as the sheriff. Now, my initial thought when I first heard about this late Sunday night, February 1st, was, oh my gosh, this is someone trying to get revenge or money from Savannah Guthrie. And the reason I say that, and that was my first thought, is because my long career as a licensed private investigator and dealing with celebrities that are stalked, harassed, kidnapped, or threatened, people that are in the public eye, people that are famous, and people that have money, they have a target on their back. And when you're famous and have money at the same time, you're going to have a giant bullseye on your back, as is your husband, your wife, your kids, anybody that's famous, their spouse, their significant other, their children, their parents, their siblings, they can all be targets. So it could be connected to Savannah. Now, if she was kidnapped for ransom, I have a problem with this theory simply because legitimate kidnappers usually leave ransom demands at the scene or send them to the family. They don't send them to like news organizations, and most kidnappers don't spend over 41 minutes in a house trying to secure and take their victim. This was an 84-year-old woman who could barely walk. According to daughter Savannah, some days she couldn't even walk from the front door to the mailbox due to her severe back pain. And, you know, legit kidnappers, they do their homework, and they would have probably taken her meds with them. They would have done their best to keep her alive and not injure her, so that if a ransom demand was made, they would be able to show proof of life and complete a transaction like a business. You know, you give me this, I'll give you that. There's a lot of problems with the kidnapping theory. Now, obviously, she was abducted, never to be seen since, and we're in day number, I think it's 58 of this crime. And let's not forget some of the minor characters in this, like Backpack Man seen roaming a parking lot a few miles from her home, but on a different evening, and he was looking around a parking lot kind of suspicious. I have a video thumbnail on him. There was a second front porch man that was seen on a Ring camera at a nearby neighbor's house, also a few miles away, while the neighbor was on vacation. She discovered it later, coming home from vacation, like, hey, there was a weird guy that was on my front porch. Let's not exclude the driver, we don't know who this is, of a white Kia Soul that was seen exiting her neighborhood, exiting the north back end of the Catalina foothills. That was recorded by a neighbor's Ring camera that was facing the street. Apparently, about a dozen vehicles passed down that street between midnight and 6 a.m. on February 1st, one of which was traveling at a very high rate of speed, but authorities believe that the vehicle may resemble a white Kia Soul based on the color and the shape. Remember, it was a full moon on February 1st, so there was an unusual amount of light. There are no street lamps in the neighborhood due to the animal or wildlife migration laws. Now, I've said, you know, this is like a book or a play. These are some of the cast of characters. Everything here on my channel is alleged. Nobody is guilty. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, I'd love to hear in the comments, what do you think? Who is involved in this? Do you think Nancy will ever be found? Is she still with the living? Or is she in heaven at this time with her husband? Let me know. Everybody, thank you so much for watching my videos.